my first thought was, how am I going to do anything for this company? And by the
Right.
time I left, just a couple of years later, I'd saved them over $30 million a year.
So your company's in trouble. The bottom line looks like it's getting below the bottom line, or however you want to say that. There are usually ways to fix that. And if you're the CEO or somebody within the company may just not know. This gentleman I have here today kind of knows how to fix stuff like that through a bunch of processes and things like that. That's a very generic term, but this is Joshua Rockwell from Rockwell Process Consulting. Hi, Josh.
Hi, Chris. How you doing today?
Very well. Thanks for coming on. I'm looking forward to hearing some of your expertise on this. And I just see here that you're a black belt, so I'm not going to make you angry.
I have a great temper.
Yeah. Well, before I get into the business part, how long have you been the Six Sigma black belt?
I've been officially trained for probably 5 years, but I've been doing this stuff for going on 20. I've been doing it since the start of my career. I didn't realize that I would ever really need it working for companies, but once you go out on your own, become a consultant, that certification and others become a lot more important. So I finally got it, but could have done it a long time ago.
Cool. Well, that's kind of neat to see that.
Yeah.
What you do for companies, for businesses, is basically improve the bottom line and get them to basically be more efficient. And you say something about a guaranteed return on investment.
That's
So
correct.
how exactly do you do that? And I understand you're working with processes, but that's a broad term. What did you
Sure.
do for a company? If somebody onboards you, you onboard them, however that works,
Mhm.
and you want to get going, what's the conversation like in the beginning?
The first thing is just, what do people want? What does somebody want? What are they interested in? Do they already have kind of a target area they'd like to go after? But beyond that, it's what's the goal? What are we trying to accomplish here? Are we trying to just cut costs? Are we trying to save money? Are we trying to get more efficient? What's the goal? And if they have some ideas of like, we think we're overspending in this area, the other area, okay, we can focus on those to start. I look at the entire business. I don't look at money. So when people say, how do I save money? Don't look at the money. Look at the process, look at the processes, and look for inefficiencies. And that's what I do. Typically, I'll find ways of improving a process that then has a direct impact on the bottom line. But it can also improve quality of the product or service they're offering, improve the throughput of the business, improve environmental impact, other things. So
Environmental impact, you said.
Mm-hmm. Yep, sustainability.
That's
sure.
a major concern for a lot of people. I don't want to dwell too much on that, but I've done some podcasts based on that. They call it ESG, environmental social governance, and you get involved in that as well. Sounds like.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, basically, anytime you're getting more efficient, by default, you are very likely becoming more sustainable, using less time, money, resources.
Oh, that's a great way to kind of put it all together.
Yeah.
How long have you been with? I mean, this is your company, your baby, looks like.
That's correct.
How long have you had your own business? How long have you had this?
About 5 years as well. Got it right around the time that I got the black belt certification, just kind of knowing I was going to be jumping into this. And I've been doing the continuous improvement work my entire career.
Did you work for someone before you had your own?
I've worked in research and development, specialty sales, been a production manager, plant manager, but I spent most of my time in heavy industry, oil refining, oil and gas, chemical industry, water treatment. So I actually worked for Kimberly-Clark. I interviewed with them several years back, about 10 years ago. They interviewed me and ended up offering me my choice of 2 jobs. And I was just blown away that they actually called me and then they offered me 2 positions. I could pick what job I wanted. And I picked the project engineer job and started my first day. And I thought to myself, what could I possibly offer this company? There's 30,000 people here, 10,000 engineers. What could I possibly offer? What value could I possibly bring? And to your question about why do you need to keep improving? Why do we need that still? When I walked around that facility, it was one of the most archaic facilities I'd ever seen. They're a Fortune 100 company, and not to knock Kimberly-Clark, they've got a lot of good processes, but they were just behind the times because they had chosen to focus on certain things, and other things they had let slide. They just didn't have the people that had that those particular niche experiences and knowledge, my first thought was, how am I going to do anything for this company? And by the time I left, just a couple of years later, I'd saved them over $30 million a year. So
you have a great eye for what to do and how to make things better.
Yeah.
And I mean, just by walking in and walking around the place, you could probably save them.
It's, like I said, it's not a knock on Kimberly-Clark at all. It's just to say that no matter how big the company is, no matter how young or old it is, no matter how technology savvy they are, there's just always room for improvement.
Okay.
I can look around my desk right now and I've got piles of things. I could improve the.
Well, now you got me looking at my desk.
But it's organized chaos.
Yeah, you know where things are. So if your wife or somebody comes in and says, "Hey, that doesn't belong there. I'm gonna move it."
This is part of my process.
Where is that?
This is part of my process.
Yeah, that's your process. Yeah. Where did I put that? Oh, you moved it. Anyway, some of the things you do for all the various companies you've done it for, whether it be with another company or with your own, Rockwell Process Consulting, it gets to be, it's almost like I don't want to say template. I'm looking for the right word, but the kinds of things you talk to the CEOs and people about, it almost some of the same exact questions, I would think.
Yeah, you end up seeing the same things, and that's kind of what you learn through the Lean Six Sigma Black Belt certification. There's a lot of the same processes and procedures that you go through for troubleshooting and problem solving to come up with solutions and then make sure that they stick. Okay. And those same basic questions apply across all industries and businesses. So just because I spent most of my career in heavy industry didn't mean that when I went into artificial intelligence or healthcare that I couldn't help them. I actually was able to make some significant changes in those industries as well.
So give me the gamut here, maybe, of some of the types of businesses and companies that you've helped. I mean, what industries are they in? Like you started to say there, but.
Yeah. So like I said, it's been a majority of, like, water treatment has been in almost every single business that I've been in since manufacturing. There's almost always water treatment component to that. Pharmaceuticals, food and beverage, like I just mentioned, artificial intelligence, healthcare, dentist offices, medical offices, all kinds of manufacturing, discrete manufacturing, continuous manufacturing, pulp and paper, oil and gas, and a few others.
Well, oil and gas would intrigue me a little bit. How do you improve processes in an oil and gas company? That's a very broad question, but go ahead.
So there's, early on, like before I even got into college, I was thinking, why are engineers even necessary anymore? We've been manufacturing things for hundreds or thousands of years. Why do we still need engineers to make things better? Well, it's because technology changes. People come in and make their own changes to things, and they may not be aware of best practices. They may have their own ideas of what to do, and that may actually take a step back for the process. It may improve one part of the process, but it may have a detrimental impact somewhere else that they don't realize.
Right.
And then you get a lot of people's, a lot of hands in the pot. Things can get changed, and not always in the best way.
Right.
You have lack of maintenance, lack of investment to keep things up to date. Products change, services change. So there's just this constant change. It's impossible for companies to keep up to date, up to speed on all of the best practices on everything they're doing. Inevitably, the business dictates kind of the momentum of everyone's work. So people get pulled in the direction of what they need to get done today. And the optimization of the process and the business kind of gets left behind at the expense of maintaining the business moving forward and getting the stuff done you need to get done today. That's where people's focus is. What do I need to get done that's right in front of me today?
Yeah.
And some of those optimization things and how do we make it better kind of slip off the back end and just stay on the back burner.
There's probably some cases where, like you just said, you get people that are so overwhelmed with inefficiencies, which cause a buildup of problems or whatever.
Yeah.
And the things they need to do to fix it, they can see them, but they're like, "Hey, I don't have time for that today." Right. So they just go ahead and just do what they do, and it's just like putting out fire after fire after fire. After a while, you're
Exactly.
going to run out of fire extinguishers, I think.
Yes.
Something's going to go bad there.
Yeah.
Have you seen that happen to where you came in and by the way, are you just you or do you have a team?
Right now, it's just me. COVID kind of kiboshed things a year and a half ago, but I was actually in the process of bringing on some more people right when COVID hit. But those things are starting to come back around again. So hopefully in the near future, I might be bringing somebody back on again.
So you have seen companies then that have been so overwhelmed that you came in and they can see, okay, we got to do this to get back on track.
Right.
But then, like you say, a lot of them say they don't have time or just always don't.
And people are afraid of change.
That's true. That's true.
I mean, including myself, but I am an agent of change. So it's kind of ironic. People get comfortable with what they're doing, and it's hard to deviate from that.
Even, comfortably numb, like the Pink Floyd song there.
Yeah. And it's, a lot of times I hear, well, this is what made our business, our company successful. Why would we change it? Well, it did get you where you are, but it's maybe not the best way. It's a good way, but maybe not the best way.
Well, you've evolved to where you need to change something to make it better and go
absolutely
a little bit further. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. Maybe you've outgrown that particular process.
If I might ask, and if you want to say or not, but how many clients do you have at this point?
Today, I have 3. At the moment, looking to take on more. They don't always require 40 hours a week.
Sure.
There's kind of touch here, get some recommendations, give some direction to one client, get them going on a project, and then I can let them go and work on that, and then step over to something else.
And then you just
kind of juggle
around and check on things and do that kind of thing.
Yep.
Sure. Well, it sounds like you actually enjoy it. This is your passion, isn't it? Doing this.
It is. I love making things better. It's a great personal satisfaction.
Sounds good. Tell me again how the black belt certification figures in with process consulting. You told me, but I want to be a little clear, and maybe the listeners and viewers would like that again too.
There's certain like templates, processes, and tools that you can use to go through problem-solving processes, troubleshooting, root cause analysis, the different levels of belts that you go up. You're working on bigger and bigger projects, and using more and more of the tools. So basically, being a black belt, you've kind of mastered all of the tools. You've worked on very large projects. You've made very large impacts on businesses. So that's kind of the high level answer to your question. It's also partly to do with the number of projects that you've worked on, but although not necessarily like you don't have to hit a certain number, but the better you get at using these tools and, helping others to see the benefit, to get people kind of on board with using the tools, seeing the benefit and the value of it.
Wow. Okay. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Probably managing a small team of people. I don't necessarily have grand dreams of becoming like a Boston Consulting Group or something like that. But I do love helping people, making things better. Culture is incredibly important to me. So the more people I have working for me, the more people's lives and careers I can influence in a positive way to have them working in a good culture. That's incredibly important to me.
It sounds like you're on the right track for that.
Thank you.
I mean, it really does from the way you talk. Because you're articulate and passionate. That's the way you need to be. And you wake up every morning with a desire to get something done and fix something, basically, don't you?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm a tinkerer.
A tinkerer. Let me just ask you a couple of non-business questions then.
Sure.
And I'll thank you for your time today. What is your favorite movie?
I'm probably going to go with, it's a dark one, but I think it's a really good one. It's Schindler's List.
Oh, right.
Yeah. The ending of that movie is just, pretty gut wrenching, but I think maybe in the best possible way of seeing opportunity and recognizing what you could have done if you had just seen things a little bit differently, and you could have done just a little bit more, done a little bit more with your life, time, money, energy. And that's something that really hit home for me. Obviously the moral aspect of the movie and the situation, but also it can be applied to just life in general.
Yes. There you go. What a great choice. If you had a TARDIS, Doctor Who, or a DeLorean from Back to the Future, and you had the ability to go back in time and talk with or have coffee with somebody that isn't around anymore, one person, and doesn't have to be anybody famous, could be a relative, who might you pick?
That's a really good question.
2 or 3 people?
Maybe like on the sort of famous realm, maybe Nikola Tesla. I've watched a lot of his documentaries, and he seemed like a genuinely good human being.
Mhm.
and incredibly intelligent, way ahead of his time.
Somebody you could learn from.
Absolutely. I think you could talk to him for years and not stop learning. And not get bored. And maybe from the non-famous side of things, maybe my grandfather, my father's father,
Right.
he passed away when I was 8, and he was an entrepreneur, started his own plumbing business,
Oh,
and apparently was a very popular figure around town.
huh.
And so I didn't really get to know him, or I don't remember the conversations that we had when I was so young.
Yeah.
So maybe getting to know him a little bit better.
That would be fun. Now,
Yeah.
just imagine that concept. It's like a sci-fi movie or something.
Yeah.
But you go back and he doesn't know who you really are because you're so much older and you have this conversation. Could make a great movie. It really would.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really would.
Absolutely.
And all of a sudden you're stuck back there in the time machines, bro. Anyway, Joshua Rockwell from Rockwell Process Consulting. What's your website, by the way?
It's a long one, but it's an easy one, rockwellprocessconsulting.com.
Thank you very much, Josh, for your time today.
Thank you, Chris.
Live long
Great
and
talking to you.
well. Yeah.